the quest to conserve water for a thirsty LA. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The Los Feliz Golf Course averages more than 40,000 rounds of golf per year. Another big metro construction project is behind us. The Century Crunch Bridge demolition project shut down roads near LAX for 57 hours from July 25th to the 28th.
With nearly 93,000 motorists traveling through the Century Aviation intersection on a typical day, the public was strongly advised in advance to plan ahead in order to avoid congestion that could cause people to miss their flights. Here's a time lapse of the bridge demolition posted on Metro's website, which we've also shared on our Facebook page. And there it goes. At the 1 minute and 22 second mark of the 7-minute video, the bridge comes down. And at 3:17, you see all the construction vehicles removing the rubble. And by 6:16, you see the sunrise over the demolition site, with crews working all night into the morning, removing every last bit of the debris. Pretty incredible.
Which takes us to This Week in Tweets. Metro Los Angeles kept Angelenos up to date all weekend long with updates and photos of the 3-day bridge demolition process. This photo was shared on July 26th with the caption, "Here's what the bridge looked like at 6 p.m. Friday night before the Century Crunch closure began." The next day, Metro posted this photo and wrote, "Goodbye, old railroad bridge, you served us well. But there's a new kid in town, Crenshaw, LAX line." And then for the after photo, the caption said, "And for those who just can't get enough, here's a pic that neatly sums it up, bridge to rubble." The Los Angeles airport also tweeted this happy tweet. Metro announces end to Century Crunch intersection of Century and Aviation Boulevards to reopen at 2 a.m., 4 hours ahead of schedule. Now that the demolition is done, on Century Boulevard, 1 lane of traffic in each direction will be removed for 16 months to allow for the building of a new aerial light rail station connecting the Metro Green and Expo lines. And here's another connection that'll expand the scope of our region's public transit infrastructure. Anna Marcos reports on a plan that could connect 2 underserved valleys in LA County with a light rail system.
Commuters, residents, and city leaders all agree the Valley's Orange Bus Line has been a huge success, with 33,000 riders a day. But for decades, this part of the Valley, in Valley Village, has had no light rail due to state legislation that banned it. Now that the ban has been lifted, the Valley's transportation landscape is about to change.
The steps that we're taking today are the first steps of beginning that very important conversation about how we build transit in the San Fernando Valley that works.
Authorities came out to show their support for a landmark vote by the Metro Board of Directors. The board has agreed to study the possibility of connecting 2 underserved valleys, the San Fernando and San Gabriel valleys, with a light rail system.
And it is much needed. Right now, out of 80 rail stations in LA, only 2 are in the valley, limiting transportation alternatives for residents.
But this plan would look at converting the valley's now popular Orange Bus Line to light rail and extending it, building a San Fernando-San Gabriel Valley transit corridor that would connect Pasadena's Gold Line to the Bob Hope Airport and to the Red and Orange lines in North Hollywood, all by light rail.
I'm sure there will be people who will be concerned about light rail. Light rail is a much more intrusive use than a busway. There are going to be bridges all along the corridor, at least every mile, and sometimes probably every half mile. So there'll be some issues like that, but I think it's doable.
So you are a fan of public transportation?
Yes, I am, very much.
For now, the Orange Line is the only game in this part of town, but supporters are confident a new light rail here could take ridership levels to record highs and bring the valley into a new era of public transportation. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
A metro rail line connecting the 2 valleys could impact millions of commuters in LA County. A September Metro board meeting should reveal new details about the plan. It's what every parent should already know, but police are making sure there's no doubt in anyone's mind that children's lives are put at risk when they are left alone in a car, especially during these sweltering summer months. Yana Kay takes us to a demonstration that shows just how quickly a car can heat up.
The sizzling temperatures in Los Angeles can be dangerous, even deadly. So Los Angeles police officers are educating parents about the dangers of leaving young ones inside hot cars.
Never leave a child alone in a car. Don't let your kids play in unattended vehicles. Teach them that a vehicle is not a play area.
In fact, just one day before this news conference in Panorama City, a 3-year-old boy died in nearby Sylmar after climbing into a hot car and becoming trapped. This marks the 3rd death in California and the 19th in the country so far this year. On a hot day like today, what many parents don't realize is how quickly temperatures can rise inside a locked car. Now take a look at this. Police officers put this thermometer inside this car about 10 minutes ago. It read 70 degrees. Now it's at 105. In fact, officers placed 2 thermometers inside 2 different cars, one with the windows cracked open and the other with the windows fully closed. Temperatures inside the car with the windows cracked open reached 112 degrees, while the car with the closed windows was only 3 degrees higher at 115. This experiment showed that it's never safe to leave your child inside a hot car.
This is a completely preventable injury, and it's tragic.
Police also say it makes no difference whether you park in the shade or in full sun. At 104 degrees, a child's organs begin to shut down, and at 107 degrees, the child can die.
Milk is something that we never leave in the car. If you're not going to leave this milk in your car, don't leave your child in the car.
A simple rule to live by that could save a life. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
In 2013, 44 children died nationwide after being left inside hot cars. So far this year, 19 have died. Authorities come down on several local businesses accused of selling cigarettes to minors. As Gil Reyes reports, it's part of the city's heightened enforcement to help curb teen smoking.
Undercover cops bust 14 LA businesses, including PK's Donut and Ice Cream in Echo Park, for illegally selling cigarettes to minors. Their punishment, no cigarette sales or advertising for a month. And the city's crackdown is just beginning.
And that effort, as you'll hear in a moment, is particularly focused on areas where schools are located.
LA City Attorney Mike Feuer says each of the violating businesses sits within a half-mile from a school campus, many of them in low-income immigrant communities. That's alarming, since studies show chronic smoking and its health risks often begin in the teen years. Young people are known to illegally purchase cigarettes after class, sometimes with the help of an adult.
Well, we just give him like some extra money if he could do us the favor just to buy cigarettes, and I think that would be our strategy.
As city leaders, nothing we do is more important than protecting the health and welfare of our youth.
And they're taking action. City leaders plan to double the number of compliance checks at retailers to 700 per year, and to post online the names of businesses caught selling to minors.
On top of all this, the LA City Attorney's Office plans to step up parent education programs at 4 LA schools that authorities believe could be breeding grounds for teen smoking. Leyte Middle School in the Rampart area is considered to be one of those campuses. Parents here can expect invitations to more parent-teacher conferences with law enforcement officials present to help curb the smoking problem.
We need to do something. We need to take action. We need to cooperate and work as a team
to help snuff out the problem once and for all. Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Only adults 18 and over are allowed to smoke in Los Angeles. Council members Mitch O'Farrell and Nury Martinez are also calling for an update on the city's tobacco retailers permit ordinance. They want to know if more action is needed to further deter businesses from selling to minors. Imagine having to compete with full-sized buses for parking spaces in your neighborhood. That's what some residents in the Koreatown neighborhood say they do day in and day out, as casino buses are now a part of their everyday landscape. Yana Kay reports.
These large buses are parked on Olympic Boulevard and Catalina, just west of Vermont Avenue, waiting to pick up passengers to take them to local casinos and then back again hours later. On average, about 30 buses a day make the rounds. But local businesses and residents say this 7-day-a-week operation and their clients are trashing the neighborhood.
When their clients, while they are waiting for their buses, they drink, they eat, and they throw trash cans. They throw trashes on the street, and sometimes they urinate.
The Wilshire Center Koreatown Neighborhood Council claims it has spent $20,000 cleaning up the trash. Residents and business owners also complain that the buses take up prime parking spaces on the street. The Koreatown Neighborhood Council says that while these buses do have a right to park on public city streets, they do not have a right to conduct business. Meanwhile, bus tour operators say they provide a much-needed service to the elderly and the retired.
They're only fun. They're entertainment. They need that. If you kick off from this street, where can I go?
The bus driver also says that this bus operation is the only way some employees can make a living.
If we stop this run, our bus coordinators and our bus driver, we lost their job. Right now, the economy already slow.
Meanwhile, the neighborhood council said it is working with the city council to come up with a mutually acceptable solution.
They need to identify the location, have that location as their pickup point, and pay taxes to the city.
But until then, these casino buses will keep their doors open for business. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The Pico Union Neighborhood Council has joined the Koreatown Neighborhood Council in asking the LA City Council to take action in this matter. It could be the future field of dreams for young soccer players. The largest soccer facility in the city of LA is getting a facelift. Rasha Goel has more.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rayford Johnson.
30 years after he lit the flame to open the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles, track and field legend Rayford Johnson joined city leaders and fellow Olympians to announce the $10.5 million renovation of the Ferraro Field Soccer Complex in Griffith Park.
Opportunities like this provide a platform for young people to prepare for the next level.
The project will transform the site into a state-of-the-art soccer complex, which will be able to serve nearly 340,000 players each year.
26 acres. They're going to get artificial turf, synthetic turf, and it's going to be great.
All of these soccer fields, synthetic, save the over 10 million gallons of water a year. So just in terms of children being able to play soccer year-round, not have to wait in between the months where it's raining or where it's not raining.
$3.5 million has already been raised, including $1 million from the City of Los Angeles and $1 million from the LA 84 Foundation, an organization that supports local youth programs through surplus funds that were endowed from the 1984 Olympic Games.
So we need these fields. They will be how we function in our programs, how we offer more programs to our kids. And that's the real benefit.
The kickoff is a reminder of the benefits the 84 Games continue to bring to the city and the opportunities created for future generations. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
1984 Olympic medalists Greg Louganis, Edwin Moses, and Nelson Bales also joined the celebration. It took some wheeling and dealing, but now a mega entertainment corporation in downtown LA is ready to expand and bring in more jobs. Anna Marcos has more on the Unschutz Entertainment Group's latest business deal.
AEG's giant economic engine is about to get bigger, and this long vacant building will become its new extra office space. AEG, one of the world's largest concert touring and promotions companies with headquarters downtown, plans to lease and renovate the historic Desmond Building to move in some of its divisions. The plan will create about 500 new jobs for LA.
We plan to move here a number of our divisions and businesses, but most notably two in particular, AEG Live, which houses our live entertainment and music promotion business. We'll be moving over here from the west side, and Access Ticketing, which is a new venture we started in recent years.
The 82,000 square feet of space will include loft offices, storefronts, a cafe, and a glass pavilion on top of the building, which will add an extra floor.
It's another in the great revitalization we're seeing in downtown, bringing jobs, bringing economic opportunity. It's right along the proposed future streetcar route.
The 500 new jobs will bring the total to more than 1,000 AEG jobs for downtown LA, and further put the City of Angels front and center as a mecca for arts, culture, sports, business, and entertainment. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Larchmont Village is a quaint, pedestrian-friendly street filled with shops and restaurants, and now officials hope a new beautification project will help bring even more pedestrians to the area. Yana Kay reports.
Local residents and business owners are hoping this newly completed median located just north of Rosewood Avenue will help transform the north part of Larchmont Boulevard to make it more pedestrian friendly.
I think it modulates congestion, really, creates an opportunity for pedestrians primarily, which is really what the experience that we're trying to promote in the Larchmont corridor.
City officials and community members gathered to dedicate a total of 3 medians to the community. Workers began construction last year just north of Larchmont Village in order to beautify and connect both ends of Larchmont Boulevard to become one unified area. Officials say the 3 medians will calm traffic, prevent illegal U-turns, increase pedestrian safety, and much more.
It improved the flow of vehicular traffic for Larchmont Village community and the adjacent residents and create a greener, cooler environment.
Now, this median is the biggest one of the 3. It is 260 feet long by 8 feet wide. It also features 8 trees and drought-tolerant plants.
Which is key in this era that we live in, but they make people slow down, make the neighborhood more special.
The second median is located at Clinton Street, while the first and smallest of the 3 is located on the corner of Melrose and Larchmont and features a monument welcoming visitors to the village. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
An important decision favoring city workers when it comes to cutbacks on their pension benefits. A city park gets a makeover just in time for summer, and a courthouse that became an accidental skate spot is now reopened to skaters once again. These stories and more in City Beat. The city's attempt to save up to $4.9 billion in pension benefits over 30 years has lost a key decision. Los Angeles City Employee Relations Board sided with city workers who challenged the creation of a pension tier back in 2012 that raised the retirement age and cut back pension benefits for employees hired after July 1st, 2013. The board's decision to nullify the tier could affect the pension benefits of the nearly 300 to 400 employees hired since then, as well as those of future hires. The city attorney's office has the option to appeal the board's decision in Los Angeles Superior Court. Robert L. Burns Park recently reopened after undergoing major renovations. Now the popular summer picnic area has a new shade structure with a solid roof that covers the picnic area, replacing a deteriorated pergola-like structure. Approximately 3,700 square feet of the site's old concrete walkways and driveways have also been demolished and replaced with new walking paths. New picnic benches have been added to the park as well. Burns Park is a pocket park, but it is highly utilized by the community. The project is a collaboration between the Department of Recreation and Parks and the Department of Public Works Bureau of Engineering. Councilmember Mike Bonin, the LA Parks Foundation, and Nike SB, the brand's skateboarding division, helped reopen the iconic skate spot at the West LA Courthouse on Purdue Avenue recently. Skating at the West LA Courthouse, also known as the Santa Monica Courthouse, was stopped back in the early 2000s when the city added knobs around the building and seating area, preventing skaters from skating at the facility. Skating legends Eric Costin and Paul Rodriguez, who honed their skills at the courthouse, were both on hand for the reopening ceremony. The Metropolitan Transportation Board unanimously approved the first-of-its-kind business assistance program for small business owners currently struggling with the construction of the Crenshaw LAX light rail line along Crenshaw Boulevard, set to be completed in 2019. Mayor Eric Garcetti says much-needed traffic improvements in South LA should not come at the expense of business owners. The Business Solutions Center will help provide the more than 100 businesses between 48th and 60th Streets services that could include financial planning advice, help with municipal permits and regulations, and legal assistance. The council member representing Silver Lake and surrounding areas recently hosted a gala celebrating his first year in office. Councilman Mitch O'Farrell says affordable housing and the LA River will continue to be top priorities moving forward. Gil Reyes reports.
Silver Lake resident Lucia Morano says she and her councilman don't always see eye to eye. For example, Morano opposes plans to turn this abandoned church into a boutique hotel. The councilman supports the idea. Still, Morano likes his policies enough to attend his anniversary party.
We don't always agree on everything, and that's okay. That's a healthy debate, but he's great, he's helpful, he's visionary.
And he's celebrating his first year in office as Silver Lake's councilman. Mitch O'Farrell spent much of the past year taking part in monthly community walks, receiving feedback from the community.
He's made it better, he's got good plans for it, and we're very happy that he's our council member.
In year one, O'Farrell's district scored big with federal approval for $1 billion to restore parts of the LA River. He has also pushed for a permanent revenue stream to build more affordable housing. Desperately needed housing for seniors, veterans,
and just professionals entering the workforce, because Los Angeles is one of the most high-cost cities in the United States, but it's the only high-cost city that does not have a permanent revenue stream for affordable housing, and we're going to change that.
The councilman also received high praise for his summer lunch program, which provides healthy meals for kids at LA parks and rec centers.
Mitch is very good on delivering services to the city and has been really a champion of green spaces and parks, and we're already happy to see evolution in this direction.
While looking forward to more healthy conversations with the councilman. In Silver Lake, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The gala was held at Max Senate Studios in Silver Lake, and next week another councilman, Gil Cedillo, also looks back at his first year in office. In this week's list of things to do, mariachis, DJs, and Ecuadorian cuisine. The Skirball is your place for weekend family fun all summer long, where performances take place each weekend day featuring a different live act. On Saturday, August 9th at noon, Mariachi Tesoro de San Fernando will be performing at the Skirball Cultural Center at 2701 North Sepulveda Boulevard. The winner of the 2012 National Arts and Humanities Youth Program Award, Mariachi Tesoro de San Fernando, was created to pass on the mariachi tradition to the next generation of musicians. The performance is included with museum admission. Details can be found at skirball.org. And for more music fun, on Sunday, August 10th from 2 to 8 p.m., gather together with family and friends at Grand Park in the heart of downtown to experience beautiful soaring beats from LA's best DJs. DJs Benjamin Beck, John Charnas, Marquez Wyatt, and Eduardo Castillo will be spinning the tunes on this night. Grand Park is located at 200 North Grand Avenue. Go to grandparkla.org for details. Sunday, August 10th is also the day for the 16th annual Los Angeles Ecuadorian Food Festival and Parade from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It takes place at Placita Overa downtown at Main Street and Cesar Chavez Avenue. At the festival, you'll enjoy a full menu of Ecuadorian dishes, including but not limited to roasted pig, pan-seared potato balls, tamales, plantains, ceviche, yucca bread, and goat stew. As for the parade, that steps off at 11 a.m. from Broadway and 7th Street. For details, go to lafoodfestivals.com. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Faculty, mom, dad. Today's lesson, how to exercise with your kids and save the planet. First, you must believe. B, that your children really are the future. Second, you must do. Instead of jumping in the car, let's go for a walk, or a run, or even a bike ride. No pollution, no oil, no gas. And as long as we obey all traffic safety rules, we're cool. Lastly, you have to live. Live into our big, beautiful, healthy future. Be, do, live. Watch the road.
Hi, this is Rabbi Mentz of Chabad of Bel Air, living in the great city of angels. You are watching LA City View 35, our channel, our city.
Sergeants, please call the members, have them report to the council chambers. Members that are here, I want to thank you, Mr. Bloomingfield, Bonin, Koretz, Labange, and O'Farrell, and Price. Members, if you're in your offices, please report to the council chambers so that we can begin our work for today. Sergeants, get on the phone and then let me know what their ETAs are. Hey, Scott, I see you in the corner over there with Koretz. The band is back together, I see. Sergeants, I need one more member so that we can start. Good morning. It is Wednesday, August 6th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. We have a quorum. Mr. Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Blumenfield, Bonabuz, Cayeno, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Corin, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson. 11 members present and a quorum. Mr. President?
Thank you. Shh. Let's begin our today's business. Speaking of business, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Bonin moves, O'Farrell seconds.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Cedillo moves, Fuentes seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, before getting into today's agenda, there are requests from members to continue item 17 to August 13.
Without objection.
To continue item 19G to August 27.
Without objection.
And to continue item 22 to August 13.
Without objection.
Further, there's a request from member to refer item 24 back to the Transportation Committee.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order. And we did take action. We're related to item 17, right?
Yes, sir. We continued that matter to August 13.
Okay, so where are we now on the agenda?
That brings us to items 1 through 13. They're items noticed for public hearing. Yes, sir. We do have cards on items 1, 3, and 9.
Okay, let's hold those items and prepare to vote on the other items. Are there any specials? Members' specials? I do not see any. So let's prepare to vote. If we could open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, that brings us where, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. President, that brings us to items 14 through 18. They're items for which public hearings have been held. A committee report for item 16 has been circulated and is now before council for consideration. Furthermore, for item 14, the city clerk reports that a majority protest was not found to exist and the proposed business improvement district establishment may be authorized.
Okay, so specials members. Do we have any specials 14 through 18? I don't see any. Let's prepare to vote on those items. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, let's move, Mr. Clerk, to the next section.
Yes, sir. Pardon me, though, before doing so, items 13 and 14 were ordinances. Unless reconsidered later with 12 members, those will go over 1 week for a second read to August 13.
Okay, I thought I looked on my board and we had 12.
We have 11, sir.
Okay. Mr. Price, is that a technical Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Mr. President, items 19 through 25 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards on these items?
Yes, sir, we do. We have cards on 19, 21, and 24.
Okay, let's hold those items and prepare to vote on the other items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That brings us where?
Mr. President,
Mr. Clerk, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No problem, sir. We do have the special meeting, which council could go into, or we do have a presentation and cards.
Okay, why don't we try to go through the special meeting, and we need a few minutes, or... Let's give it a go. Mr. Bonin, before we go into the special meeting. Okay, let's go into special, let's adjourn. Do we have to adjourn to go, recess to go?
Yes, sir, we recess.
Well, let's do that.
We're going to the special. Blumenfield, Bonabusca, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Huizar, Carrasco, Corin, Labange, Martinez, O'Farrell, Parks, Price, Wesson, 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, what's the first item that we have?
Mr. President, items 26 and 27 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for both items are in and should be circulated shortly.
Okay, well, let's do, let's go to item 26. Members, no special. Let's prepare to vote on that item. Let's open the...
And
yes.
Pardon me, sir, I am told that 26 and 27 have now been circulated.
They have been?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's prepare to vote on them. In fact, can we do them both?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do that. So before us are items 26 and 27. Let's, Madam Clerk, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, is that all of the work that's necessary in this special meeting?
No, sir. We do have item 28. It's an item for which a public hearing has not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration on that matter.
Okay, so without objection, that item is not now before us. I'd like to call Mr. Walsh or Mr. Herman on item 28.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or go to J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This concerns the City Ethics Commission. As you know, we filed the largest Public Record Act request in the history of Los Angeles, and we are currently going over 15 years of City Ethics Commission documents upstairs. As far as the amendments to the finance laws that apply to city elections, we're 100% in favor of them. They don't go far enough. I remember when Gil Garcetti was on this ethics commission and we used to raise hell. The mayor's, I assume his father, HollywoodHighlands.org is in favor of the proposed amendments. They should go much farther, and we think every once in a while the City Ethics Commission does a good job. You're not all corrupt. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Mr. Herman.
Item 28, communication from the City Ethics Commission, amendments to the campaign finance laws that apply to city elections. HollywoodHighland.org is correct. We don't need to say any more than how these amendments to finance the ordinances that reflect the City Ethics Commission's report. However, attached to the council file, the proposed amendments to the Los Angeles Administrative Code should and always reflect its attachment of that report. For without the elections, without the voters' participation, this process of local government couldn't work. And with good intention, I know that the city is working to ensure that public interest for people who are disabled are satisfied with the conditions that you recommend here. I hold my time under 1 minute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Members, on this item, I just want to inform you that this item was just transmitted to the City Council on July 31st. And unfortunately, based on the charter, we need to act to approve or disapprove the administrative code change this week. Because we really didn't have the time that we need, it is my recommendation that we disapprove the administrative code changes without prejudice based on the timing, send them back to the committee to allow the council to deliberate over this item. So I am therefore moving that we disapprove the administration code changes without prejudice based on the timing, refer the rest of this item back to the Rules and Elections Committee, and I need a second by Mr. Bloomingfield. Okay, Mr. Clerk, why don't we prepare to open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Thank you. Forthwith per Mr. Labange. Now, does this conclude our business and special meeting?
Yes, sir. Would you like to adjourn the special and return to the regular?
Yes, I would.
Very good, sir.
I believe there's a request for the Venice ordinance to go forthwith.
Okay, why don't we send those all 26, 27, and 28 forthwith?
Very good, sir. Mr. President, before getting back into the matters on today's agenda, 13 and 14 were the ordinances that we approved with 11. We do have 13 members present now. Would you like to reconsider those matters?
Yeah, why don't we vote on reconsideration of those items, and then we'll actually re-vote on the items. So this first vote is for reconsideration. Let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Now let's actually vote on the item. the items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
And on behalf of Mr. Krikorian, I'd like to, on item 14, send that forthwith. Let's move, Mr. Clerk, now to item 3.
Very good, sir. Item 3 called special for cards.
And I have a Spencer Chin or Cheng. Spencer, please come forward. Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Yes, my name is Spencer Chang. I live in Silver Lake, and I own 2 lots on Academy Road. This is regarding addition assessment for a light. The proposed light is going to be blocking my access to my property, so that's why I'm here to object to the proposed lighting. I'd like to submit some pictures. So that represents.
Mr. President?
The picture represents the blockage, access to my property.
Okay. Okay, members.
We'd like to continue for 2 weeks.
Mr. Cedillo, Mr. Chang, Mr. Cedillo is going to continue this item for 2 weeks. Mr. Clerk, what date would that be?
That's August 20th, sir.
So this item will be continued to August 20th. Let's move on to item 9, called special by Mr. Walsh. Item 9, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh, if you could wait 1 second. Mr. Koretz?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have some special guests here today from up north who I want to acknowledge and give a warm welcome to. From Sacramento County, Supervisor Don Natoli. From Contra Costa County, Supervisor Mary Pifo. And from San Joaquin County, Supervisor Larry Rustaller.
All right, welcome, supervisors.
And they're all here to meet with people on water issues.
I'm going to have Mr. Lamont. Mr. Lamont, why don't you go chat with our guest and suggest that maybe they go to the Bradley Tower. Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, or tweeting at Hollywood Dems. I hope those supervisors come out and take a look at the UCLA
Stay on the
flooding.
item.
You do a great job with your water, not compared to you.
Just stay on your item, Mr.
This is number 9. This concerns street lighting. As we said, just recently the light went out in our neighborhood, and at Yucca and Argyle, it was replaced the next day. Now, that has a little bit to do with the fact that our neighborhood is white. If your neighborhood isn't white and wealthy, then you don't get your lights fixed. But if you're black and brown, if you're brown, you can stay around. If you're white, that's all right. But if you're black, stay back, stay back, stay
Mr.
back.
President, he's not talking about this item.
On the item. Okay, let's prepare to vote on that. No applause. Let's vote on this item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Let's go to item 21. Mr. Walsh, item 21.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. This concern always, whenever it says personal services contract, I don't know what that means. You know, Clinton had a personal service contract with Monica Lewinsky, but this is $13,500. David Cooper. You want to stay on the item? Okay. Maybe you can, we're researching this. They don't want you to know what David Cooper is going to do for that $13,500 from the council office budget. This is the 15th Council District. This is Mr. Buscaino. Maybe Mr. Buscaino can get up and talk and tell us exactly what he's getting. I'm understanding it's going to take him about 3 hours, and he's going to make $13,500. That's what somebody told me. Personal services, HollywoodHighlands.org.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Let's move on, Mr. Clerk and members, to item 1. If I could call forth Ted Ross, Mr. Herman, and Mr. Walsh. Please come forward. Ted Ross. Mr. Ross, are you here? Okay, Mr. Herman. Followed by Mr. Walsh.
I want you to keep in mind regarding housing that building and safety has continued to put provisions that are unethical towards the building and safety of how it conducts business for the public. Such harm when you see all the list of items here. CD 14, North Kidney Street. CD 15, East 112th Street. CD 3, North Geyer Avenue. And yesterday when I spoke about Mr. Parks pulling his points off the agenda because he didn't want to be heard, that's pathetic. You, if you have a problem with liens, come to the city of Los Angeles and protest, because this will change, fix, and make things better, as opposed to allowing the lien process by this gentleman in front of me to continue to harass and provoke you, the taxpayers of Los Angeles. Hoorah!
Okay, Mr. Ross or Mr. Walsh? Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Go right ahead.
Last month, I received a notice of hearing, and I received it by posting on the fence of the property, and I did not receive a copy by mail.
What address, Mr. Ross?
1774 East 112th Street, Los Angeles. And by the way, the zip code 90059. It doesn't say here in the notice, but I provide you. The problem started back over than 4 years ago, approximately 4 years and 4 months or so. The former tenants, they abused the property. It's a residential property. They use it to do auto repair business, storing cars, and they didn't take care with the property. The property was dirty. An inspector told them what they're doing illegal, and I tried friendly to solve the problem with them. I failed, so I said I have no other choice than starting a legal action against them. It took some time from the court till I got judgment against them. You're probably familiar with the eviction process, and people, they try avoid it and oppose it with all kinds of ways. And then finally I got judgment, and I had to take the rate of execution from the court clerk, took it back to the sheriff department. The sheriff department, they reduced their staff. It took them some time to lock them out. Once they were locked out, the cars were removed, They removed it before they moved out, and I cleaned up the property and cut the grass and...
Let me do this, Mr. Ross. I see that Mr. Buscaino has pushed his button. Mr. Buscaino, where it relates to this issue? No applause,
It's
Mr.
not
Herman.
specifically this gentleman's issue, but item 1B, we're asking to continue for 2 weeks, sir.
Item 1B, but that is this item.
Yeah,
It is that item. Okay,
He mentioned another address. That's what threw me.
Got you. So what we're going to do is, Mr. Clerk, continue this item for 2 weeks. And what day did you say that was?
August 20th, sir.
Okay, sir. So you have up until August 20th to have conversations with the department and the council office to see if you can get some kind of a relief. All right? Okay. Mr. Walsh, you're welcome, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. What this is a lien, which means that your landlord has not abated a nuisance or and incidentally, I just had the inspectors come to my apartment. They were going to all the apartments in our building, and they did an excellent job, courteous, smart, and they list the code violations. If the landlord doesn't pay, the code doesn't repair it, there's a lien, and then that means your landlord doesn't get the rent. The rent goes to the city until they pay up and fix your unit. And you notice most of these are in minority areas. And again, how many of you have had the inspector in your home? HollywoodHighlands.org. That means you're not white.
All right, let's prepare to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay. Mr. Krikorian, if you would go forward, I'd like to turn the floor over to Mr. Krikorian for a very special presentation. Mr. Krikorian, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's a real pleasure to be able to be here to recognize one of the real model corporate citizens in Southern California. Today, I want to honor Comcast, NBC Universal for what they do not just this year, but every year with their Comcast Cares Day. It is a remarkable commitment to community and to public service. In 2014, we had the 13th annual Comcast Cares Day, and it is the nation's largest single-day corporate volunteerism effort in the United States. Comcast and NBC Universal created Comcast Care Day in 2001. And every year, Comcast and its employees and NBC Universal and its employees join community members, family members, local community groups to come together and make an impactful difference. In 2014, 95,000 volunteers contributed 570,000 service hours in a single day to improve more than 820 parks, schools, beaches, senior centers, and other vital community sites in 12 countries around the world. Since the first Comcast Care Days, more than 600,000 volunteers have contributed almost 4 million hours of service. It's just a remarkable record of community service and of partnership with our neighborhoods. I was especially pleased and honored that this year Comcast made the decision to do Comcast Cares Day in Los Angeles at Rio Vista Elementary School in the 2nd Council District. It's just in the neighborhood of the Universal Studios lot, and my staff and I were there to join them, and it was an amazing and inspiring outpouring of enthusiastic volunteerism, which was an impactful day. 450 volunteers showed up at Rio Vista Elementary School and just transformed the school. And in addition to that, the Comcast Foundation presented a $15,000 grant to purchase classroom computers. So it was really an exceptional day. Just another example of what Comcast and NBC Universal do every year. And we actually have a video to give you a little bit of taste of what happened at Rio Vista Elementary that day. So if we can go to the video.
Wow, what a crowd.
Comcast Cares Day is really the culmination of a whole series of activities all year long because Comcast cares more than on one day. We think it's the largest day of service in corporate America.
Good morning, volunteers, and welcome to Comcast Cares Day at
One of the
Rio
volunteers.
Vista Elementary School.
If we can lend a hand to help, it actually lifts people's spirits, it lifts their attitudes.
You see the positive messages across the different murals that we have here at this location, and just the overall inspiration for the kids to really become engaged in the opportunities that exist for them.
On one day, we're one unit. And so to be a part of the bigger Comcast family for a day is really a lot of fun.
I think it's our responsibility to help, not only help maintain the beauty of this place, but to help inspire these kids.
Transforming the school environment for kids is just a huge impact, and it makes them want to come to school every day.
I'm just beaming with joy to see how wonderful this place has been transformed in such a short amount of time.
So before we go to the presentation, I would just like to invite Pia Sadakatmal, who's the principal of Rio Vista Elementary School, to say a few words about what happened that day and how it's made a difference at Rio Vista.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Once again, my name is Pia Sadakatmal. I'm the proud principal of Rio Vista Elementary in North Hollywood. And I'm here to share the impact that that Comcast had for our school community. Armed with 400 employees, they transform our campus to this vibrant place of learning. They had volunteers painting murals and these wonderful inspirational messages, college logos, pictures, games on the ground like hopscotch. And these inspirational quotes and college logos still resonate today because kids come up to me every day and say, Miss Sadakatmal, guess what? I'm going to UCLA. Yay, Bruins. I'm going to Stanford. I'm going to Harvard. And such a wonderful impact for our students because now they are encouraged about the importance of going to college and being ready for a career and workforce. But like Mr. Krikorian said, it didn't stop there. They donated $15,000 to our school, which will go into purchasing desktops for every single classroom, once again, reinforcing the importance of digital literacy for our students. So I am extremely, extremely touched and very grateful. I speak on behalf of the community about the wonderful lives that they've touched, our future, and really inspiring our students about the importance of education.
Mr. Krikorian, I am certain, my dear friend, that there are kids that say they want to go to USC as well.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth, Mr. President. Thank you. I was going to point that out. I'm sure there's some that are interested in going to UC Berkeley as well, and as well as Stanford, I might add, too. So thank you very much, Principal Sadakatmal, first of all, for your service and for those of your faculty and employees at Rio Vista, and also for helping us to get a sense of how Comcast has made such a difference. And coming to us today from Philadelphia, from the corporate headquarters in Philadelphia, I'm proud to introduce the Vice President of the Comcast Foundation, which has donated more than $16 million in grants to local partner organizations. He's the Vice President of Comcast Foundation and the Director of National Partnerships for Comcast, Mr. Fred Moss. Mr. Moss, welcome.
Mr. Krikorian, thank you.
Mr. President, thank you, and council members. I just really want to thank you for allowing us to be here today to be acknowledged for all of the work that we do in communities across the country and now around the world, thanks to our colleagues at NBC Universal. And especially, it was especially touching for me to once again be here in LA this year on Comcast Cares Day with Principal Pia, all of our volunteers, lots of excited kids and parents, teachers, to help transform this school and make a difference in the community. And frankly, that's a belief for our company that started when our company was founded over 50 years ago. Our founder, Ralph Roberts, felt that it was very important to invest in our communities where our employees and our customers live and work. And certainly it's important to us to be a part of the LA community and do great work such as we did at Rio Vista. So thank you again for having me here today. It's an honor. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague and friend, Tracy Cohen from NBC Universal.
Good morning. Just echoing on what Fred said, it's an honor to be here this morning. On behalf of Comcast, NBC Universal, it means so much to us to be able to give back to the community in a meaningful way. And Comcast Cares Day is just a sample of what we do locally in the communities. And it was enriching for all of us who participated in that day to be at the school the morning when the students walked in and were able to see the transformation that occurred and the reaction from the students and the parents. And we're excited to see when those new computers get rolled out into the classrooms, the impact that we're going to be able to have. And we look forward to continuing to working with the community and in Los Angeles to make our community stronger and better. Thank you.
Thank you. And when you go back,
Fred. Thank you, Tracy.
when you go back to Philadelphia, would you tell David I said hello? He's a remarkable man, and tell him that I think about him often. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Krikorian. Mr. Labange.
Thank you very much, and I was glad you talked about David Cohen, because David Cohen worked with one of the greatest Americans, Ed Rendell, who was the governor of Pennsylvania and the former mayor of Philadelphia, and also a great fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he has his own talk show. But it all starts with roots of where people come from, and David certainly has that. In the video there, Fred, great to see you. And Tracy Cohen has that, a former deputy mayor for James Hahn, and the great job that you did. All works together. Ron Meyer, the leader out here on the West Coast, Venice High graduate. Did you know that, Mike Bonin? Ron Meyer, Venice High. Got opportunity transfer from University High, but that's another story. But anyway, it's why we do these things. And Paul, Rio Vista, a great school, and the relationship with Weddington Park is very special. But Universal, right after the fire at Griffith Park in 2007, was their whole team. And there's a whole grove of trees that are planted in Vermont Canyon because Universal, because you guys got roots. Good roots, deep roots. Thank you very much, Comcast Universal. Thank you for the Building and Safety Department to allow the new sign that says Comcast Universal. Is the fastest sign ever got up in the city of Los Angeles in this time, and we thank you for that. Good job, Comcast. Tracy, you're the one who won.
Thank you, Mr. Lamonge, and thanks for the great work you're doing in representing NBC Universal as well. So on behalf of the entire City Council, I'd like to present this certificate of recognition to the extraordinary service of Comcast NBC Universal. Thank you very much. So let's squeeze it.
And we thank you, Mr. Krikorian and Comcast, NBC Universal. Another hand. Good job, Rio Vista, all the way. Give another hand, everybody. A little exercise never hurt anybody. I'm going to call comments now, public comment. Shelly Gomez, this is public comment now at 10:50 in the morning. Shelly Gomez, is that correct? Arts District, Shelly Gomez. I'll hold that card. Robert Lucas, come on up, Robert.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Robert Lucas. Last week, I introduced myself to you guys and a little bit about my story. Trying to put together a proposal for a nonprofit for some of the mentally ill. I have a little bit of a solution. I want you to know that when I say putting footwork in, I mean that literally. I'm living at 6th and San Pedro. I spent 25 years in prison, living with the mentally ill, some of the most convincing criminals I've ever been around. I've been around the extreme of what not to do. The answer for some of these things lie within the problem. When Sandy Hook happened, I mentioned last week that it changed the course of my life. It gave me some validation on what I needed to do, and that was to find some passion and make a difference. The heartbreak that I felt at that time was something that I'm still trying to deal with today. I understand some of the red tape that I'm going to have to go through in doing this because I had a personal issue that happened at Pershing Square. There were some defamatory statements made to me in a public forum that, if misunderstood, could have got me locked up. This person didn't even know me. I've tried for a month to get a meeting with this lady through her supervisor. 2 weeks ago, I went to Huzar's office. He directed me to his deputy, field deputy. He's had trouble for the last 2 weeks trying to reach this person. I have extreme patience and understanding because I have a purpose and a direction. I need some help. Most of all, I need the support. I appreciate every one of you, and you have a great day.
John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential. Stay tuned. Michael Hunt, the dean of our group, will be here. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor has told us, and I'm speaking to the world, the UCLA flood was the worst flood in history, man-made flood, city flood. And what did the mayor say? Expect more of them. We in the city of Los Angeles have the worst infrastructure, totally deteriorating. And what do these people do? They ask for a report from the people who are responsible for it. Hundreds of cars destroyed. But remember, they can now take the subway. Maybe that was why they flooded the cars. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, that the next big infrastructure disaster will be electrical. There will be a huge vault fire. And then they will say, well, we didn't know about it. They are not repairing the electrical bolts. They're sitting up here with their middle finger up their brown eye, and they don't give a damn about you out here. The whole system is in decay. It is falling apart, and the mayor is kissy-facing his boyfriend, who he put on the Metropolitan Water District, naming names, Glenn Dake. Look it up in the LA Times, and you'll see that there's never been a mention of him. And, of course, he's wearing the Monica Lewinsky knee pads in that relationship. And that's what the mayor of the city is doing. Stay away from this city. It is a death trip. We are stuck here. HollywoodHighlands.org. Check. We have a lot of new information coming out. And incidentally, and this is the city where the police chief sells his horse to the police. Sells his horse to the police as a police horse. Corruption. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Michael Hunt.
Good morning, Ninth Circuit winner Michael Hunt. I'd like to give big ups to Chief Charlie Beck, second term. I love Chief Charlie Beck. Next thing I'd like to give ups to is Eric Garcetti's 36,000 jobs in the city of Los Angeles. I like to give big ups to that. Then I like to hit on the 4215. If you guys want to keep on getting sued again, and you guys want to keep on changing or tweaking that ordinance, we're standing by. We're ready to sue. Ample alternative on that boardwalk at all times and all means. I'm a Ninth Circuit winner. Susan Siegel said you can display anything on the boardwalk. You should go back and read Hunt versus the City of Los Angeles. To those who don't pay attention, 10 years later, $7.5 million that got the city in the hole in the 11th district, and you're still not paying attention to what's going on. Something wrong with that picture. Eric Garcetti, do not sign that 4215 amended ordinance. You will be in trouble again. If you want to spend another $7.5 million, we're ready. You just paid me $215,000 for a T-shirt. You should really be listening. You paid me $264,000 in Ninth Circuit City Court, and you guys still haven't learned a lesson. So the 11th district should really pay attention to what they're doing, because they're causing the city a lot of money and a lot of tax people's dollars and things like that. And if you don't think that my attorneys are ready, we're ready to go into any amended ordinance. That boardwalk should be ample alternative. You can set up anywhere, even including not a designated spot. That's what Ferguson was talking about. You can set up an easel and a paintbrush and paint anywhere on that boardwalk without being in a designated spot. Please open ample alternative. Mayor Eric Garcetti, do not sign the amended ordinance. Michael Hunt, 9th Circuit winner. I'm one of the best in the United States.
Brian Barajas.
Thank you for calling public comment early. First off, I would like to invite everyone to a LaRouche PAC Town Hall meeting on August 30th on a Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you like more information, call 818-630-7725. The title of this town hall will be A New Just World Economic Order, Bring the United States into a New World System. But please call us to reserve and for more information. Now, I want to bring up a discussion how to uplift your situation, because I think the idea here is, and I'm going to mention, I think it was Bloomingfield's comment of leapfrog. The concept is easy. You have to think in terms of platform, not infrastructure. LaRouche has mentioned this. How do you change the platform of the whole economy of the world? China is a prime example of this. Think of the helium-3 that they're going to mine on the moon. Now, 44 tons of helium, if you bring that to the Earth, will be equivalent of all the energy consumed in the United States. That is, you can replace 1 billion barrels of oil with this technology called fusion. And China is the leader of this. Now, all the talk about Russia's fault of Ukraine shooting down of MH17 is wrong. You could go to the guy Bob Perry, who broke the Iran-Contra. He's breaking the news that this is all lies. So, you want a future, or do you want thermonuclear fusion?
Janet Marshall.
Good afternoon. I'm here to speak on behalf...
Ms. Marshall, pull the mic down and speak right into it. Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks for hearing me. I'm here on behalf of a parking ticket that I've received. And I've been to the office right here on 2nd Street when I first got the first ticket. It was only $73. I went in to inquire, how can I rectify this situation? Could I do community service? Could I pay on it? I was told, you can pay on it, but it's going to constantly go up and it's going to affect your license. Okay, right now, in my possessions, I haven't drove since '97, but I still have my commercial license, and I'd like to keep them. My record so far with law enforcement has been clean. Before I got a parking ticket, I got a double ticket. I paid that ticket. The person in the window had me write out a contestant. I wrote it out. You could not use it with the courts. They did not take all of the money. They left $5 off, and I had to pay another big penalty and charge it. This time I have no finances, and I wanted to know if I could do community service or some kind of way that I could rectify this ticket, and I was told no. Now I got this one before me, and it's gone up to 71, 100 and, let me see, this one is 146. The other one was $171. As of today, I have no idea what it is. So I come before City Council to see how we can rectify this. I've even been over there in the plaza to fight the other one, and I was told no. For a parking ticket that I had received at church during a funeral procession because the city was out working in front of the church, and I still had to pay that ticket. Now my funds are completed, and I have nothing, and I'm here before you to see how I can receive help in this situation.
Could you tell me where the church was where you were attending the funeral, Ms.?
Yes, I did. It was in writing. The city received it, and it also...
Where do you know what part of the city or what address?
I don't have the address.
All right, I'm going to have you go to the rope. Sergeant, when you get the address, thank you. Please tell us where so we can try to assist you. Henry Marine.
Yes, good morning. On September 25th, 2013, Rosie Greer made us aware that we owe our success to God in one nation under God. And I've been coming here for 4 years, and finally, every member of the city council, the mayor, city attorney, and the controller agree with me that the people who volunteered to take money for the benefit of public employees and place it in trust have not been legally accounting for this money. Consequently, there's a whole lot of people employed past 1,000 hours that belong in permanent positions. And the city council has failed to account for these time and money of others. So, you're agreeing with me, but you're not doing any damn thing about it. You're just sitting around here pointing fingers at the people who are holding the money, and all you have to do is provide them 90-day written notice, and they got to give it back from a revocable and temporary trust. Miss, you're on the phone? Hey, Miss Martinez, now you know what it's like, how those pimps act down there in the valley, right?
Direct your question to the chair, please.
Well, you're the chair. Every one of you is equal bodies. If I talk to one, I talk to all. Pimp, principal initially given shelter for hours of government service, has been taken by the people who put it in trust and have to serve as our pimp, principal and interest money providers now. So we out here working just like the people on the streets of Van Nuys, and y'all ain't accounting for our time and money. Thank you.
Shelley Gomez for the second time. No Shelley Gomez. Mr. Herman, please.
Angelenos, is there this question for you? Are you a symbol for the American people? And I'm addressing it to our senator of the 20th District, Alex Padilla. Are you a traitor? And have you betrayed the American people and our interests? Because here in this article by Roybal Allard's office, it says, roll call, refugees, the humanitarian crisis of and from across the southern borders flooding into the U.S. And what is the responsibilities of this senator? Health services, California highways, unemployment, Department of Fair Housing. And it's a sad situation when you have a local and a state government that cannot assist fellow Americans in today. But I want you to hear what Mr. Garcetti said in his parade for us.
Please turn it off. I order the city attorney. Turn it off. Continue speaking. You're not public speaking.
So then what I'm saying is that if the mayor at a parade can say, fuck it, You don't find nothing offensive wrong with that? He still has not apologized to we, the public. And yet, our officers on file and rank cannot receive pay. All right, Mr. Koretz, I did it on purpose because I got your attention, right? It's called what? Rank and file. Duh. And LAPD must receive a raise from you, Mr. Garcetti, because if you're going to still use the terms fuck it, then I too can use it because I'm speaking in the terms that you taught me during the King's Parade. So get on the job, give us health service, give us unemployment, and provide fair housing.
Jordan Abrams.
Yeah, I want to speak to Judge Goodman's ruling regarding your April 2nd resolution, making infrastructure reporting discretionary in the framework element and removing it from the community plans. His decision was quite clear that that April 2nd resolution was in violation of the Public Resources Code, that infrastructure reporting and monitoring had to exist somewhere within the general plan, and your April 2nd resolution violated the law. I was very surprised to see that the city is going to appeal. I saw in the court docket a notice of appeal. And when I ran into Mike Fuhr a little while ago, I asked, well, when are they going to file the appeal itself so we can see the grounds in which you're going to appeal? And he says they're working on it. But if you consider the facts that we've been having a water main break reported on TV every day since the major break at UCLA, it seems that there is absolutely a necessity for infrastructure reporting and monitoring, and that it actually would be well advised for the city to withdraw the notice of appeal and to accept the judge's decision and to continue with infrastructure monitoring reporting in the general plan.
That completes public comment. Mr. Clerk, next item on the board.
Mr. President, that takes us to item 19. That's 19A through H.
All right, I have a continuation on any of those items.
Mr. President, item G was previously continued.
Very good. So we have one card left. That will be Mr. John Walsh on item 19.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Item 19 concerns REAP, another excellent program, a rent escrow program. We think you're doing an excellent job here. When you do a good job, well, we say you do a good job. And as far as I know, all these addresses now, North Satsuma Avenue, and North Woodman Avenue, South Menlo Avenue, West 16th Street, South Flower Street. These have bad landlords, and you are placing their feet to the fire. And I will say one thing about the landlords in their favor. No landlord has flooded their tenants' cars and destroyed their automobiles in the history of Los Angeles. They do a very good job of flood protection, our landlords in the city of Los Angeles. I wish you did 1/10 the job of flood protection that our landlords do. I don't need the full-time HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential.
That completes that. So on the balance of the items, Mr. Clerk, we vote on item 19. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
On the balance, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
14 ayes. Next item.
Mr. President, Council has motions for posting and referral.
So ordered.
The desk is clear.
Any announcements, members? Any announcements at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Labange, for stepping in. So, Mr. Clerk, everything's posted and referred. We're at, again, announcements. Any announcements, members? Or maybe if we could all please rise for adjourning motions. If everyone in the council chambers. Okay, I mentioned yesterday that a very important person in our community passed away. I guess it's Sunday morning. All of us know the feeling when you get a call that is too early in the morning or too late at night. You always have like a chill run through your body, and that's what happened for me in particular when I found out that my dear friend every day that I've been in politics, I've known her. She's always been there, like the sun rising and setting, and that's Brenda Marsh Mitchell, that many of you know from her association with the Brotherhood Crusade, Mothers in Actions, the Los Angeles Sentinel. She died Sunday at the age of 67. She was the right hand and special assistant to Danny Bakewell that many of us in this room know. I had chatted with Danny a few days back, and he indicated that even though she was gone, he was having trouble with a tooth, and he got on the phone to call her to see if she could clear his calendar so that he could get dental assistance. It's just that much of a shock. She was a senior publisher at the Sentinel, the largest African-American newspaper west of the Mississippi. She was the president and executive director of Mothers in Action that holds an annual back-to-school day where thousands of children are given backpacks and school supplies. With Brenda, everything that she did worked. You felt good when you worked with her or when you helped funded a program that she was promoting because you knew at the end of the day that you were going to get the bang for your buck. Brenda, for whatever reason, adopted my mother, God rest my mother's soul, and my wife, and it just amazed me the various things that she would do for them. And my mother used to drive me crazy about getting tickets to various events. And I would tell her, Ma, I only can get 2 tickets. Brenda then began to give my mother tickets to various award shows and programs. And I remember once I had some extra tickets, and I called my mother and I said, I got extra tickets. And she says to me, oh, don't bother. Brenda Marsh has taken care of me. So I go to this big, lavish event, and my mother was in better seats than I had. So Brenda had a way of just getting things done. She was one of the coordinators from Los Angeles that assisted with the Million Man March. Many of you in the past several years have come to the Taste of Soul, which is a big street event that we have on Crenshaw Boulevard. Over 100,000+ people come every year. It is a mess to put all of that together, but when the event would open, it would be flawless, and that was because of Brenda Marsh. When I needed to talk to Danny a few days, I have to admit that I almost called her myself This is a shock. This is a tremendous loss for the entire city of Los Angeles. And I will miss going up to Brenda and say, Brenda, I need to get some. And she'd say, shh, I got it. If I had a dime for every time she said, don't worry about it, I got it, I'd be in Maui right now in a luxurious suite. So she will be missed. But I know that my mother will be extremely happy to have company where they are right now. Mr. Price, I'm sure you'd like to add a few words.
I would, Mr. President. And she was really a dynamo in our community, a strong advocate for families and children. And she was steadfast in that. I saw her a couple weeks ago at the school giveaway that she did that the Mothers in Action did at the Coliseum. And, you know, she's running around making sure that everybody else gets in the picture but her. She's just selfless that way. And so she's going to be sorely missed. Her contribution to the Sentinel, to the Brotherhood Crusade, to Mothers in Action, and every other organization that impacted families, impacted children, Brenda was always there. She was always there to support, to be a cheerleader, and to be a resource. And so we will miss her. She certainly has been a tremendous light in the community. She will be missed, and we know that heaven is better having her there now as well. Thank you.
And lastly, I'll just say, imagine what it would be like to have somebody like her that you loved at your side for 45 years. And that's how long she and Mr. Bakewell have worked, partnered together. So our prayers go out to her family and to the Bakewell family, because this is a tremendous, tremendous loss. Mr. Cedillo.
We're very close, Brenda and myself. I got to meet her and know her in the late 80s and early 90s. And, you know, my heart goes out to Danny, because he's not going to know what to do or how to do it without her. My wife will be happy to see her, and they're going to have plenty of stories about them running our lives and getting us places and making us do the things that we do and helping us do those things. We were very, very fond of each other. She used to call me we used to call each other my husband, my wife, and every time we saw each other. And she's just a wonderful, sweet, community-focused person, and spent her whole life serving others. And may God rest her soul. May she be in a better place. A real loss. When you mentioned that the other day, I was just shocked and stunned. I called Dan immediately, because she was just so close to us all those years we were at 660. And all our time working with the Brotherhood Crusade, she was our anchor and our link. And so she'll be sorely missed, but she's got a lot of people waiting for her. So she's in a better place.
Yes, she did. She will, or does. And in the clerk's office, if you could prepare, we want all members on this, but we want 4 signatures. We want a signature for Mr. Parks, for Mr. Price, Mr. Cedillo, and myself. So with that said, other adjourning motions. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I have a dear friend and a 5th Council District constituent named Babak Mirdamadi, who's a wonderful person who I treasure and admire, and I celebrate who he is in large part because his mother, Farah Akhtar Faker, was a great human being who had a tremendous influence on her family, including Babak and his 3 lovely sisters, as well as his marvelous wife, Linda, and their 2 delightful daughters, Anna and Layla. Farah, who is known to her family as Grandma Pia, was born in 1931 and passed away this past July 26th. And so I'm asking that we adjourn in her memory. All of us would be lucky to have had someone just like Grandma Pia in our family. She was funny, she was proud and supportive of her family, and she had an artistic streak and was a profound appreciator of theater and the arts. And she had a very creative way, whether cooking, gardening, sewing, or any of her other activities. Anyone who knew her especially knew her for her renowned cooking of some of the best Persian cuisine you could ever taste, be it heavenly chicken or some other splendid dish. And in fact, her baklava was so notoriously great that when Babak and Linda bought their home a decade ago, they actually commissioned an artist to paint their dining room ceiling in gold and red diamond-shaped patterns to resemble her baklava. Farah got the nickname Grandma Pia because of the many pajamas that she hand-sewed for her granddaughter when they were toddlers, and her nanny's mangling of the nickname Grandma Pajamas for all of those. She was well known for loving animals and passed that on to her family, who has some wonderful animals that I visit with, and very compassionate and loving towards animals, as have been our policies here in this council. She was not only tender of heart but firm of principle, and she wasn't just a comforting matriarch in her home life. She was also an inspirational and steadfast matriarch of her culture and for our society. She was very involved in the Girl Scouts and the Red Cross. She was also very involved in the Imperial Ministry of Education in Iran and was a wise and caring educator for 30 years. She was also very active in politics in both environmental and animal rights issues, but also as one of the founding members of the Iranian Women's Organization in the United States, which has fought and continues to fight for freedom and democracy in Iran. And she led by example up till near the end of her life by participating over at the Westwood Federal Building in a number of actions and hunger strikes for peace in Iran. And she, like so many Grandma Pias that we've all known, showed the way for her family and all who want peace, harmony, and justice, and a better world. So I ask that we adjourn lovingly in her memory.
Okay, I'm looking to my right. No additional adjourning motions. Now I look to my left. Members, this meeting is adjourned. See you Friday.